What up, everyone? This is the Shorty Logic podcast. I am Shorty Logic, and here come my hosts.
How you doing? This is Bless, aka Tamika, or vice versa.
How y'all doing? This is Desiree, aka Drizzy.
So
Hope
we're
y'all
gonna get
having a good day, good evening.
so I'm gonna get a shout out to Miss CFO, Miss Ebony, aka Miss Shug. We present some prayers to her and her family. That has a death in her family, so she won't be here tonight. So showing prayers up, sending prayers up.
Absolutely.
So and also now we got part 2 of last week's topic. So we're gonna go ahead and get into it.
What's up, podcast enthusiast? Ready for a deep dive into some real talk? Tonight, we're diving into part 2 of a topic that's got everyone talking. Why families today are so divided. Yep, we're tackling those tricky family dynamics. Ever wonder why Thanksgiving dinners feel like a battlefield? Or why Uncle Joe and Aunt Sally can't see eye to eye? It's not just you. From generational gaps to social media drama, we're breaking it all down. Tune in as we unpack the big questions. How did we get here? And more importantly, how do we bridge the gap? It's time to get to the heart of the matter. One candid conversation at a time. So, hit that subscribe button, and let's get
So we're back to why families today are so divided, part 2. Before we get into the first video, let's get back to let's get some of your thoughts, Miss Bless.
Well, again, I like to say that I feel like the families are divided for a lot of different reasons. Not just the secrets we keep within our family. It's all about, sometimes it's a love-hate relationship, sometimes it's envy, sometimes it's jealousy. There's different things that happen that divide the family, in my opinion.
Okay. What you got, Miss Drizzy?
Okay, I agree with Miss Bless because there is a lot of jealousy and envy and a lot of secrets that are kept. I'm sorry for the noise in the background. I'm at work, people. But there are a lot of secrets that are in families, and to me, that's what really keeps it divided, because it's a lot of things that go on in families that people do not want to speak on, and
True.
they keep it bottled up inside.
I can agree.
Until they blow, or until they figure out what to do with what they've been through.
I can concur with that. I can concur with that because, like I said, a lot of families go without talking about the issues that's been going on with inside the family. They think they're sweeping on the rug and leave it alone, think it's supposed to go by. But even though you stop talking about it, the damage is already done.
Right. It doesn't go away.
It doesn't go away. So I'm gonna go ahead with the first video, and this video here, I'm glad I found this because it's been what I've been talking about when it comes to trauma. It's just everything this man saying. Y'all need to watch it, what he doing, and actually listen to what he's saying, because this is real. We're gonna get on into it.
Pain travels through generations, often referred to as generational trauma or generational curses. This represents your grandparents. It may not have started with them, but we're going to start with them. They had some form of pain or trauma, whether it was handed back down from their parents or they endured it themselves. But either way, unintentionally, they passed it on to your parents because they didn't know any better. It wasn't their fault, whether it was lack of resources or knowledge. And this represents your parents who passed it on to you for the same story and the same reason, unintentionally. They didn't know any better. But now there's you. You have one of two options. You can either pass it down to your daughter or son, or it can end with you. But it's not going to be easy. It's going to come with a plethora of failed relationships, of just not understanding why you feel different, why there's so much pain and suffering that you feel like you have to heal from, and a lot of it isn't your fault. But guess what? Trauma isn't your fault, but it's your responsibility to heal from it. And eventually, you'll be able to love yourself, appreciate life, and realize the fact that It might have ran in your family until it ran into you. It's not easy, but it is possible.
I agree 100%.
Yeah.
I definitely agree. I've seen that before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree
Yes,
100%.
I do agree. I do
Yeah,
agree.
because it's definitely up to us to stop the cycle.
Yes.
We have to break them generational curses.
That's the whole point. Right there. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, got to break the generational curse. You know, the damage. You know, their parents did whatever to them, so they take it on. Whether it was voluntary or non-voluntary, you know, it takes it on. But once it gets to you, what you gonna do about it? You know what I'm saying? Because me personally, I feel like if you gonna hold on, Dre. I feel like if I've been damaged about something or by someone, and I don't go get help for that, how I move and how I act and how my attitude is going to reflect off of that trauma. So what like the guy said, is your responsibility. No, the trauma is not your fault. It is not your responsibility, but to heal from that trauma is your responsibility.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I could totally agree with that, because whatever is done to us is done. Now, what we have to do is try to figure out a way to talk about it, live through it, and actually get help for it, and then stop. You know, don't take whatever anger or issues you have out on your children or anyone else around you, and that goes for a relationship, a friendship, anything.
Yes. Yeah. But the thing is, though, is trauma is bad. But the thing is, my thing is, what you have to do, you have to identify it. And first, you have to identify it. And what is the cause? First, identify it, then find out what's the cause. What is the cause? So, if it's between you and a family member, what do you think? What do you feel that step needs to be done? But like I said, you have to identify it first. That's just how I see it.
Yeah. And when you do identify it, you have to first go to that person and ask to have a conversation, a genuine conversation, and stand on how you feel and mean what you say.
Right.
And if you know that you're wrong, apologize. Right. And let them have the floor and let them apologize if they choose to do so. Correct. And if they do not choose to apologize, then you got to move on and you got to forgive yourself. You got to forgive them for you. You don't forgive them for them. You forgive them for you, so you can move on.
Okay. Drizzy, what's your input?
I'm sorry if I was interrupting y'all. I just looked down and my mute button was off. But I totally agree. I just feel like that with me, I don't know. Everybody's different. I kind of got to the point where I could forgive, and then I reached out to the ones that hurt me in some type of way.
Right.
And I didn't, I wasn't negative about it. I was just more, I had to get at peace with myself about what was going on. And to me, it kind of made it easier for me to get past it. Not even past it, where it wasn't eating me up inside.
Right.
Where, I don't know. I mean, where I can just get past it. Like, I don't even think about it no more. I do every now and then, but it's not weighing on my shoulders like it used to.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Like I said, all trauma are different. It just, we got to get to a point in life with our families. Sometimes you just can't bring together. Sometimes you have to just split apart. Because we've been taught time and time again that we need to keep our family blood is sticking in the water. So we need to try to work it out, try to build on it.
Yeah, which is BS.
That's not always true.
It's BS. Because sometimes your friends will treat you way better than your family ever could.
Yes, that is true. That's true. Mm-hmm. Man, that's true.
That's a myth.
That is a myth.
Sometimes your family set out to damage you, Sometimes your family is the ones that's jealous of you and treat you worse than the people in the street.
In a lot of cases, that is true. In a lot of cases, that is totally true. So we're gonna go ahead to the next video.
Ever since the beginning of time, the enemy has been trying to put an attack on the family. One of the reasons why he does that is because God created it. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, and he also created family. We're talking about a place where there's a father, there's a mother, and there's children. The enemy would try to do everything he can to stop that. Now, I'm going to say something this morning that's some people think is controversial, but it's not necessarily. One of the things that hurt the black community is when the government, the welfare was directed toward taking the father out of the home. And so that has wreaked havoc in black communities forever. So it's like, well, didn't white people also, different people also were a part of that and benefited? There was no benefit. There was no benefit. Anytime you take the father out of the home, you decimate that home.
I agree. I've said this 100 times before. I say when they started putting people on welfare, and don't get it wrong, everybody has need, maybe everybody, or maybe not everybody, but a lot of people have needed it once upon a time in their life. But that was not something that was supposed to be a forever thing. It was something that was supposed to be for you to get up and get it in advance in life. Some people got so just content with what they were living and how they were living for almost rent free that they stayed that way. Generations were born in the projects upon generations. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying there's not money in the projects. For sure there is. But the problem is, why are you living somewhere where they're holding you down, keeping you down, and you have to comply to their rules? Why not live your life the way you want to live your life? You don't have to worry about, oh, this man can't live with you because if they found out that he lived with you, then y'all gonna get kicked out of the house. That's the most craziest thing I've ever heard in my life. They made all these shelters for women to go with their children, but the fathers can't come. If they were homeless as a family, then they're still homeless as a family. So at the end of the day, why is it that you can go and with your child into a shelter where the man got to be out in the cold somewhere? Why can't they make family shelters where all of them can go together if you're really trying to help somebody, and then give them roles and things that they can do? I don't care if they don't have money, if they don't have any way to survive. Give them something to do. Give them like educational, like what is that down in Louisville? They had the Urban League where you can go and sign and do different things. You know, help them out. They got Salvation Army where you can go down there and do different things. Give them something to do, constructive, to build them up. Some people don't have education. So help them do that and help them build themselves where they can get on their feet and get out there and get a job to get, you know, what they need in life, house, food, shelter, you know, whatever it is that they need to do. Do that. And then they will be able to be together, which is, they should already have, like I said, a family structure where they can put them in a family home instead of separating them. You got a men's shelter where only men can go. You got women and children's shelter where only women and children can go, but you're still separating them from their families.
Right.
And it's not making any sense. So when they're growing up and they're not respecting nobody and they don't have no structure, first thing you say is, oh, the daddy ain't in the home. Well, you make sure the daddy wasn't in the home.
That's the part. That's the part. And like you said earlier, you know, that's the biggest part right there. It was never meant and never made to live on for generation, but it happened.
It wasn't.
But they do it all day long. They do it all day long. And that, I feel like if every generation kept doing that and just living on that, so it only suppresses their mind and their dreams just to the hood and to the projects. So.
That's not to say that people in the projects are bad. That's not to say that.
That's not saying that.
My very first apartment when I was 18 years old was at Aircourts Projects. I still remember that. That's the most fun time I ever had in my entire life. You hear me? I mean, fun. But at the end of the day, when I got pregnant and had my child, I was like, yeah, this ain't what we're doing. So I wanted something better. So I never went back to the projects again. When my child was born, I left. I had a job. My husband had a job. We was out the door. This is not what we was wanting to do, but that was our choice. That was our story. I'm not saying that's for everybody. You know, everybody's, you know, they get up and fly in their own time. But at the end of the day, that's what I wanted for me. And I feel like if you want better, then you'll do better.
If you want better, you can do better. That's the big. Say that again.
And that's true. If you want better, you'll do better. I just like my mother never pushed me to go out and get an education and all that type of stuff. Like I didn't even graduate high school. I'll tell anybody. I went and got my G. When I had my daughter, I was determined. Oh yeah, this is not what we're gonna do. I'm not gonna be living here looking like this, and I'm not gonna do that. So I stood up. I told my husband, look, he graduated high school. He was going to college. I said, listen, I went and got pregnant. I went and got my GED on my own. Nobody forced me. Nobody pushed me. Nobody asked me. I went to college, been to college 3 times. There was choices that I made. And guess what? It paid off in the end because I ended up having a decent job. I did what I had to do. My kids didn't have to live in the projects. I did what I had to do to survive.
Right.
So, you know, and at the end of the day, I still had my story, like I was talking about last week. I've been through a lot. But at the end of the day, it was still my choice to get up and do something different.
And that's the point right there when you said it was your choice to get up and do something different. So you have been through some of the worst things in your life. You have some of the you've been treated the way you've been treated by your mom, and you really had to get it from the mud. You know what I'm saying? All that's trauma. But you as an individual, you decided that's not what you want. That's not the type of misery, that's not the type of life you want to live.
No.
So you set your mind up to be better and get better.
But here's the thing. I don't want to get this misconstrued at any point. I'm not saying that I was better than anybody. I'm not saying that I was taught better than anybody.
No.
What I'm saying is I wanted better for me. And
Yeah,
at the end of the day, what I am saying here is I've never looked down on people. I've always been the type of person to help anybody that need help. I promise I am. Still to this day. I don't care if I got $6 damn. I'm gonna figure out how to do what I need to do to feed us, whatever we need, we're gonna get it. I'm gonna figure that out. I've always been that type of person. But at the end of the day, I just chose to do different. It doesn't mean I was better than everybody else. I don't think I'm better than anybody else. The only person I feel like I've ever been better than is my old self. That's how I look at life.
And back to what you were saying, no, I concur. Like, no one's saying we're better. No one's better than anyone. But you made a better choice for yourself.
Yes, I made.
You was living before you made that choice. You was living in pain. So you decided to move from that. So, but what you had to do is identify that, find out what the source was, and then take your steps to heal from that.
Absolutely, and it's not something that's gonna happen overnight.
Oh no, you're gonna have trials, tribulations. You're gonna fall.
Situations,
tough situations. Sure. You're gonna have. I'm telling you, it's gonna feel hard. You're gonna feel like it just. Why I'm just keep going through this? But at the end of the day, it's gonna get better.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's gonna get better. So with that said, we got to go to our next video.
And thanks to all these people, the support that I had, that I didn't make a mess of my life. It is some higher power stepped in because, I could have fit the statistic. But these statistics are facts. And we need to quit avoiding the reality and quit looking, it's racism and it's someone used the wrong word and called me boy, or some white kid rapped a rap song and used the N-word. That's the real problem. No, the real problem is the breakdown of the family. We don't produce as good a fruit when the family is broken up the way ours is. And we have to address that, and you can see it in basketball.
Now that right there, over 80% of us come from a broken home.
Oh, I can see that.
Come from a broken home. And majority of the time, we continue that same cycle. From a broken home. And the trauma and the experience that we have received from our childhood in that broken home But a lot of times we take that and bring it into our adulthood, and sometimes that frustration will carry on to our children.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
Yeah.
For sure. And then it's so many ways to be broken.
Yes.
Again, it can be a multitude of things. It can be child abuse. It can be just ignoring your child, not raising your child.
Mm-hmm.
Like laying around the bed all day, not even getting up raising your child. Your child's raising itself.
Yep.
It could be the way you scream at your child, the way you hit on your child. It's so many different things. Some not protecting your child, somebody coming in and touching your child, or you
Right.
touching your child. It's so many different ways to break a home. And that's the problem.
Yeah.
We have to figure out how to get back to how it used to be when we was paying attention to our children. We were sitting at the table with our children, doing homework with our children, talking to our children, asking the hard questions. We've got to get back to that.
Stop having the TV, then cell phones, and
raising your kids.
Raising your kids, man. And actual raising your kids. You know what I'm saying? Actually being involved in your children's life. Men, you definitely need to step up,
Not
Stop.
just men. I'm not even gonna just put
No,
it
no,
on
I
yes,
know
some men do need to step up, but guess what? Women get about the
Yeah.
clubs, get about all
The
that
reason why I
silly stuff,
say that,
the extra
the reason
stuff
why I
and raise
say that,
kids.
the reason why I
And
say that because I'm speaking to men, you know what I'm saying? There are, you know what I'm saying, I'm in that same category too. You know what I'm saying? Children out of wedlock or not being with that child's, mother, and not being with that mother, that's still technically creating a broken home.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So
definitely.
that's
But you're
what
taking
that's what I'm speaking
accountability,
on.
and that's what you have to do.
And
And
that's,
like I said when I said about being in the club, don't get it twisted, because I love going to the club too. But here's the thing, I'm gonna tell you this, and this is the truth. Before I went to a club, I waited till my children were 18. I'm not saying that's for everybody, but I worked hard. I did what I had to do, and I said one day my time's gonna come, and when my time comes, that's when I'm gonna play hard. So I waited till my kids was right about 17, 18 years old. That's when I started going to the clubs and having my time. Because, oh, baby, when I had my time, I had my time. Because I had already put in the work.
Right. Well, unfortunately, I mean, I ain't really. My son's 4, so I ain't done that. You know what I'm saying?
And my story's not.
I can say I have the co-parenting to and then we have it set up. You know what I'm saying? Equal time, so I can have son father time, and I also can have my grown time.
Your grown time, right?
You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? So like it's set up that way. So I'm blessed for that. I'm real blessed for that. But we're gonna go ahead to our next video. Tonight gonna be a short night. We just an extension from last week. We just had to finish it up since it was a real hot discussion. So we go ahead to the next video.
Because once they make money, the narrative that we hear about black men,
they don't get married.
No, they don't like who?
Oh, they don't like black women.
Well, yeah.
The national average for black men who are married, what are they married to?
It's got to be black women.
Black women at what percentage? Over 85%. But it don't matter though, because once they make money, that's when they go get white women.
White women, yeah.
The national average for making over $200,000, black men, right? How many of those men are married to black women?
I'll give him about a cool
95%.
95?
I believe it.
I do believe it. And then when you hear the horror stories, we got to talk about Scottie Pippen.
Girl.
Lex has a good point though, because they'll show the Scottie Pippen, right? And they'll say, look, this is how black men behave. Yeah. But that's not the fact. Destroying the black family has been on the forefront of the mind of the people who created this country. How do you destroy the black wealth in this country?
Yeah.
Destroy the black family. Make black women think that black men don't love them. Make black men think that black women don't respect them. That's all a fallacy. It's not true. The older I get, I'm 40 years old now, the more I realize that everything I've learned from mass media has been programmed by people who have an agenda.
I agree. I've seen it.
Facts, baby. Facts. And see me get on. I like that video right there because a lot of people don't know that. They don't know that at all. The numbers are there for a reason. The whole thing is really, it shows you that when a black man gets to a certain level, that a lot of times they stay with their black queens. You know, you do have some that goes out there, but over what 85, then 90. When it gets successful, 95 still stay with their black queens. But society only shows the ones that who do go to white lady. You know, leave a black girl to white girl.
Look at Michael Jordan. He left his black wife to go to a white girl.
I get that, you know what I'm saying, but they only shows that they don't never.
I don't care anyway. Love is love. It don't matter to me. It really don't.
Yeah,
it don't.
You know what I'm saying?
Because trust me, some of them ones that went to the white women, they can have them anyway. I don't care.
But it just shows you know what I'm saying, what people think is really not true. You know what I'm saying about that particular thing. You know, it's the light is not never really shine on that. On that part. You know what I'm saying? You got a lot of OG celebrities that's still with their wives from when they was 16, 17 years old.
I can name a couple right now for sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Look at Ice Cube. Look at Snoop Dogg. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, they stay with, you know what I'm saying? They stay with their wives. So, I feel like I said, shine the light on what the bigger number is. And the bigger number is a shoulder to show where they do stay with their, significant other. Right. Get big when they get big, they just forget where they come from. You know.
Yeah. It's like saying every white man that get married who owns a business, he sleep with a secretary. Like, I mean, not every man do. I'm sure, but I know there's a lot of them out there to do. You never know.
A lot of them do. A lot of them that do.
I'm just saying,
A lot of them that do. But. So well tonight, that was a good little conversation, everyone. You know, I'm about to play this one video again because it's really, really everything I've been saying. So I got to play it again for the night is ending. So let's go ahead and get back on it.
Pain travels through generations, often referred to as generational trauma or generational curses. This represents your grandparents. It may not have started with them, but we're going to start with them. They had some form of pain or trauma, whether it was handed back down from their parents or they endured it themselves. But either way, unintentionally, they passed it on to your parents because they didn't know any better. It wasn't their fault, whether it was lack of resources or knowledge. And this represents your parents who passed it on to you for the same story and the same reason, unintentionally. They didn't know any better. But now there's you. You have one of two options. You can either pass it down to your daughter or son, or it can end with you. But it's not going to be easy. It's going to come with a plethora of failed relationships, of just not understanding why you feel different, why there's so much pain and suffering that you feel like you have to heal from, and a lot of it isn't your fault. But guess what? Trauma isn't your fault, but it's your responsibility to heal from it. And eventually, you'll be able to love yourself, appreciate life, and realize the fact that it might have ran in your family until it ran into you. It's not easy, but it is possible.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
That's why the reason why I have to play that again, because that is so true. You're gonna get scraped, you're gonna fall, you're gonna bust your head while you're in your healing process. But when time go on, you will heal. But you also have to put the work in. You have to put
the work in.
Yes.
That's a must. And that's with anything in life.
Got to put the work in.
Even with relationships, you got to put the work in.
That's the problem with people today. They don't want to work.
Yeah.
Work is a foreign word to people nowadays.
Listen, this is my thing. Everybody's so quick to want a title, but nobody's really ready to work for it.
Huh, that part. Well, that being said right there, yo, everybody, once again, we're sending prayers to Miss Bless. Not Miss Bless.
Thank you. Thank you.
To Miss Shug and her family,
sure.
With the mispassing of their family members. So everyone in the comments put prayer hands and send their prayers up. Once again, this is the Short Logic Podcast. Oh yeah, We will not have a ladies' night show this week, and we will not have no shows next week because New Year's. But we will start the shows back January the 6th. That's on a Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time.
All right.
With that being said, the Short Like the Podcast is out of here.
Happy New Year's.
Happy New Year's, everyone.
Merry Christmas.